All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to Queen Amadai TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. I'm your host, Queen Shakur, and this is your spiritual vitamins. I hope that raised somebody's vibrations. Okay. I hope that raised somebody's vibrations. So let's get ready to get into it. All right. So shout out to all of my Stardusters in the chat. Okay. Shout out to all of my Stardusters. Now, I'm going to need you all to start checking the community tab and Twitter for your links, okay? For those of you whose emails I don't have, it would behoove you to send me your email so that I can personally send you the link, or you need to check the community tab or Twitter because ScrewTube is not sending out these notifications, so I've heard. Okay, so I've been hearing that they're not sending out the notifications. Not even to the members in some cases. So please pay attention. All right. So with that all being said, who's in the mood for trivia today? I was just thinking about it. Now, we had trivia yesterday for the members. And so I was thinking, I have a few more ebooks to give away. And so who wants to win a free ebook? One's in the chat if you all feel like having the trivia after the broadcast. One's in the chat if you feel like having trivia after the broadcast. Look at Kathy B laughing. Okay, so with that all being said, I guess we'll have it. Now, mind you, the trivia isn't going to be on the broadcast. I'm going to randomly pick something like I did yesterday. Okay, so yesterday for the members only live, we had just some random trivia questions, and it was about movies. Okay, it was movie trivia. And honey, let me just tell you all, let me just air them on out right now. Do you all know that some of my members never saw Gone with the Wind or Avatar? I have a whole lot of questions. Beloveds, okay? How has anybody not seen Gone with the Wind or Avatar? I'm sorry, what? Okay, Hundia says she's still at work. Okay, beloved, don't worry. Well, Hundia, you don't have to play. You don't have to play. The moderators get free ebooks. All you have to do is let me know that you want one. Look at Desmond talking about really. Yes, really, Desmond. All right? Really. Okay, so with that all being said, let's go ahead and get this party started. Everyone, please get those likes up. Please like and share this video. Now, today we're going to be talking about people who are trapped in a cycle of negative thinking. And there's some specific behaviors that these people tend to engage in, and in some cases without even realizing it. Okay, without even realizing it. So let's get into it. Jonah said, but I will watch. It's fun. Okay. So let's go ahead and get this started. Now, because I think I'm going to also do a members only live at some point today. Okay. So anyway, with that all being said, let me get this party started. So our minds are powerful tools, but sometimes they can become our worst enemies, especially when they get stuck in a cycle of negative thinking. Now, you all are familiar with this, I'm sure, because I've talked about negative thinking, negative thought patterns numerous times, right? People constantly putting themselves down, feeling full of self-doubt, not feeling sure of themselves, and then letting other people who are doubting Thomases or negative Nancy's put things in their ear and in their mind to make them feel even worse, rather than trying to encourage, uplift, and inspire them. Okay, and so you might be going about your day seemingly fine, but beneath the surface, you're caught in a whirlpool of pessimism. I absolutely cannot stand to be around someone who's pessimistic. You see, pessimistic-minded people, they tend to view everything in a negative light. I mean, everything is always negative. No matter how much good news you bring to them, you could be telling them a plan or idea, something that you have in mind that you want to do, rather than trying to encourage you. They always have the bad side of it. They always want to say, well, I don't think that's going to work because of this, or how are you going to do that? They always have something to say. Like I heard Steve Harvey say once that when he thought about doing stand-up comedy and he told his family, some of his family members were saying stuff like, comedy? How are you going to do comedy? You're not even funny. And then they would say, you can't make any money telling jokes. Who wants to hear that when you have something in your mind that you want to do, when you have your heart set on something? Now, even if the person does think that's not the best choice, well, at the end of the day, it's not up to them, it's up to you. So you should not listen to people, because let me tell you something. People will absolutely talk you right out of your dreams, okay? And some people do it unwittingly, and some people do it because they don't have any goals, dreams, or ambitions, and they're stagnant in life, and they are, in fact, miserable and don't want you to excel past them. They want you to stay stuck right there where you are, and as long as you do that, everything's fine. But remember, I told you that sometimes when you elevate yourself and you excel past others, well, now they have a problem. Now they think you're acting brand new. I think you're doing too much. I think you have gotten the big head and all of that. So you might not even realize how deeply it's affecting you or how it's shaping your perspective on life. How do you recognize if you're trapped in this cycle of negativity or simply dealing with occasional bouts of self-doubt and insecurity? After spending years of studying human behavior and psychology, you see, here's the thing. The queen has figured it all out. You see, I started noticing that people who engage in negativity have very similar tactics and behaviors that they just can't help but deal in. And the first one is excessive self-criticism. Now, do you all remember the story that I told you about someone who was close to me? And that person was always so negative, always so pessimistic. And in fact, they even told me one day when I was trying to encourage them by telling them to pray and meditate and have conversations with the Most High. I have conversations with the Most High every day. At the end of it, they ended up telling me that they hate God. They said they hate God. They said they don't even know why God put them here, and that in fact, they don't know why they exist, and that God never answers their prayers. And I'm like, wait, what? So here's the thing, and I'm currently no longer around that person, and thanks to the Most High for that, okay? The Most High saw fit to remove them from my life because I spent at least 3 years trying to help this person have a better outlook on life, how to be more positive and upbeat. I did everything that I could to uplift, motivate, encourage, and inspire them. Nothing ever worked. And remember, I told you when I would call them and I'd say, hey, what's going on? Nothing. I'm just sitting here. Who wants to call somebody and hear them talking like that when you're in a high vibrational, upbeat mood, right? Doesn't that just drain you of energy? I mean, a whole psyche vampire is all I'm saying. Now, at the end of the day, sometimes you have to let these people go. You cannot find yourself in the constant presence, okay, constantly in the presence of negative people who are so pessimistic. They will absolutely drain your energy. And let's not forget that energy is contagious. And so soon enough, you'll start thinking negative while you're around them. Okay? You'll start feeling like, why am I here? Like, what is going on with them? Like, they're really getting on my nerves. But you were just in an upbeat mood prior to engaging them. Okay? So please pay attention. So the excessive criticism, and that's one of the things about this person that really was so draining. They always talked about how they didn't like the way they looked. They talked about how they didn't like their job. They talked about how they didn't like their pay. They talked about how they didn't like the people that they had in their family and all these things. Well, here's the thing. If you have things in your life that you do not like and that are bringing you down and don't make you feel like you can be the best that you want to be and who you truly need to be and want to be, you should just remove those things from your life. If you don't like the job you're at, go look for another one. Who said you had to stay at that job forever? Right? We have options. So while you're at that job that you're constantly complaining about, that's killing your spirit, you can be actively applying for other jobs. But this person would never do that. When I would suggest that, they would do nothing more than make constant excuses. They would just make excuses. Well, I could go at so-and-so, but that's too far. They don't really have anything in this town. And they would just say all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, okay, clearly. Well, what about getting an online job? That's what I told them. I said, listen, I teach college courses online. I said, I don't have to go to the campus anymore. I just teach college courses online. So why don't you just get an online job? I mean, they had a whole degree. This person literally had a degree and they weren't working in the field of their study. And so I said, you can go online and you can find something that you can do from home. And so you don't have to worry about the distance or gas or any of that. Oh, well, my computer's broke. You can't get another one. Well, I don't make enough at my job because every time I gave them any alternative option, any other advice or suggestion, they always quickly had a pessimistic response. And I'm like, finally, I'm thinking, okay, this person clearly doesn't want to help themselves. If you don't want to help yourself, it's nothing I can do. Because what you can't do as a positive person, you see, positive people cannot uplift someone who doesn't want to be uplifted. That's what you can't do. It's impossible. If someone doesn't want to be brought up, then you can't bring them up. But the flip side of that is, if someone is in fact negative, they can absolutely bring a positive person down. That's what they can do, even if you don't want them to. They can literally bring you down. It's like the pull of gravity. Because the more negative they are and the longer you are around them, well, the more that energy rubs off on you. Remember the story I told you or the scenario I gave you about if you walk into a party or you go into a place where there's a bunch of people and everybody's smiling and laughing and having a good time and they're glad to see you. They're greeting you with hugs and handshakes and all of that. And then you're in an upbeat, positive mood. But on the flip side, if you go in that same room with those same people and they're looking at you like, who told her to come? Why? Who invited her? Did you? And they're looking at you with their noses turned up. Then you're going to be like, even if you were just in a positive mood previously, you're going to be like, why the hell is everybody looking at me? What's their problem? Now you're on the same frequency as them. That's how that works. Because energy is absolutely contagious. So you should always be careful about whom and what you give your energy to. So now this excessive self-criticism is really toxic, not only for others around you, but for yourself. That's why I always emphasize the importance of saying your mantras and giving yourself positive affirmations at the beginning of your day when you rise and at the end of your day before you fall asleep. Okay, now, perhaps one of the most common signs of negative thinking, the negative thinking cycle, is increased, right? It increases the level of self-criticism. So some people might find that they're constantly berating themselves, even for small mistakes. Okay, it's as if there's an internal critic living in their heads, relentlessly pointing out their flaws and shortcomings. That's how this person seemed to me. It seemed like they just had something like almost like a demonic energy or entity attached to them, always reassuring them of their failures and shortcomings. Now, the voice might convince them that they're not good enough, smart enough, or simply just not worthy. However, it's important to remember that this voice is not a reflection of reality, but a distorted mirror created by one's own negative thinking. And at the end of the day, that's why it's very important to say positive affirmations on a daily. You have to remind yourself how wonderful and how great and how grand you are. If more people did that, we'd have less haters. You see, because the thing about haters is, well, they hate on other people because they're not happy about who they are. And there's all kinds of haters. They come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. And someone could have all sorts of money and be so wealthy and then still be hating on someone who really doesn't have much money. And then you think, why are they hating on them? They don't even have money. But sometimes it's not about that, as I told you before. If you remember the story, The Count of Monte Cristo, if any of you ever read that book, which I read in high school, one of my favorite books, okay, written by Alexander Dumas, who also wrote The Three Musketeers. It's the greatest story of revenge ever told, in my opinion. Now, if you ever read that book or even saw the movie, for those of you who don't really like to read, well, you'll know that that was a story about a man who was rich, had everything that he wanted, and he had a friend, and his friend was poor. His friend was the son of a goat herder, but that rich man was so envious of Edmond Dantes, his poor friend. He had everything, but yet he's worried about a goat herder's son. Well, you know why that was? It's because here's the thing. In reality, and I know some people don't agree with this, but in the reality, the truth of it is, people think that money makes people happy. You know who thinks that money makes people happy? It's people who don't have money. Because people who have money know that money doesn't make you happy. Money doesn't make you happy, okay? In some aspects it may, but overall it does not make you happy. That's why you hear these stories about famous people, celebrities, or people that are very wealthy taking themselves out because money doesn't make you happy. That's what poor people think. And so poor people crave money because they think that's going to bring them happiness. In reality, it's not. And the reason in the story of the Count of Monte Cristo why this guy was hating on Edmond Dantes, even though Edmond was poor, is because Edmond was truly happy with himself and with life. And even though he didn't have much money, he was sure of himself. And so that was a reason for the other person to hate. You see, sometimes people don't hate on you for what you have. They rather hate on you for who you are. Because if you have something materialistic that someone wants, well, especially if it's someone with wealth, well, they can just go out and get it. So they don't have to hate on you for that. Now, some people will, of course, hate on you for material things that they can't afford. But people who don't have to worry about materialistic things and they're hating on you, it's 9 times out of 10 is because something about your personality, your character, something about you specifically that they want. They weren't born with it and you were. And they can never have it or achieve it. They can't go out and purchase it. Either you have it or you don't. It's like the it factor. You ever watched American Idol back in the day? And when Simon would say that certain people had the it factor, they had the looks, they had the talent, they had the wit, they had the charisma, the stage presence. They had the whole package. Well, everybody doesn't have that package. And sometimes people are looking at you and feeling like you have that package and they don't, and they're mad. And so that's a reason that some people are motivated to hate on you. Please pay attention. Overemphasis on positive thinking. So surprisingly, one sign of being trapped in negative thinking can be an emphasis or an overemphasis on positivity. Now, you might find yourself, or these people specifically might find themselves trying to maintain a positive outlook, so much so to the point where it becomes exhausting. Oh my gosh. Have you ever encountered someone like that? It is absolutely nauseating. Like they're trying so hard to convince you, others, and even themselves that everything's okay, that I'm just being so positive. But this is the same person who you've listened to for days, weeks, months, and even years in some cases, just be so downright negative and pessimistic. But all of a sudden, now they're trying to give other people positive talking points. Oh, keep your head up. Oh, everything's good. And it's hilarious, right? Because you already know at the end of the day, this person is so negative. All right. Now, the relentless pursuit of positivity can often lead to a denial or dismissal of any negative emotions, which creates an internal conflict. Please pay attention. Okay, this is known as toxic positivity. It's the belief that no matter how dire or difficult a situation is, positive thinking is going to solve it. That's not always the case. Now, this overemphasis on positivity can actually feed the cycle of negative thinking, as it creates an unrealistic standard for happiness and success. You see, they put this in their mind thinking that, okay, I'm just going to be positive. I'm just going to try to think about good things and all of that. And then everything will just be fine. But everything's not going to just be fine, because at the end of the day, you have to believe these things from the pits of your spirit, and you have to be passionate about it. And you also have to be doing positive things and speaking positively, right? Speaking positively. Now, if you're not, and you're just trying to fool yourself, well, you can try to fool yourself all you want, but your subconscious knows the truth about you and who you are. You see, deep in the realms of your subconscious mind is where the truth of whom you are lies. So you can try to lie to yourself, but the subconscious mind knows that it's all lies. Okay? So please pay attention. Now, accepting all emotions, both positive and negative, is crucial to your mental well-being. Because, hey, we're not going to always be positive. There's negative things that happen in life. That's just the way the world is. But the thing is, you don't focus all of your thoughts, energy, and efforts on the negative. Okay, so recognizing these patterns can absolutely be challenging for some people, because, as a matter of fact, society often encourages, the always be happy mindset until you get on social media and see how everybody's just on here going in on people and just hating on other people and talking crazy and just so thrilled about the drama of it all. All right. Constant worry about the future is the third thing. Now, you may find yourself lying awake at night, haunted by a parade of what ifs. Okay, the constant anxiety about what could go wrong in the future that prevents you from actually enjoying the present. People spend so much of their time worried about things that may never actually even happen. This is what they do. Okay, they can become so preoccupied with potential problems that they miss out on the joys of life. Now, it's natural to worry about the future to a degree, to a certain extent, because you have questions about, for example, when I was talking about the food shortage, and I was talking about how we need to be preparing in case there was a power grid outage, just different things. If there was a cyber attack that knocked out the power grids, or we were out of power for weeks and things like that, how we have to prepare and have, non-perishable food items and water, generators, candles, and just different things like that. We prepare ourselves for these things, or we should prepare ourselves for these things, because we know and understand that negative things do happen, but you don't have to harp on it. You don't have to sit there and say, man, oh God, the power grid's going to go out one of these days, and if I don't have all my stuff together. That's not what I'm telling you to do. Remember that foolish comment that someone gave me on the main channel when I was talking about, I expressed my opinion about people that look like me never getting reparations. And they said, oh, Queen, why would you say something so reckless? You're always talking about how we, manifest things with our thoughts and we create our own realities. And why would you say that? That's just reckless. You can manifest it, putting it out there in the air. First of all, that's ridiculous. Okay. That's ridiculous. Like I told them, because the bottom line is, you don't manifest something just because you opened your mouth and said it. That's not how it works. If that were the case, I'd be sitting here saying all day long that I have millions of dollars. And I keep saying it until I had multiple millions. If it were that easy. You don't get things to manifest just by saying them once. It takes consistency, visualization, and you have to have your mind fixated on it. If I say something that I don't think is going to happen, if I say, well, I don't think we're ever going to get it, I don't think it's going to happen, that's not going to make it happen just because I said that. Like, that's just crazy. Okay, and that just goes to show how some people really think in nonsensical ways. That's when you know that someone doesn't truly understand spirituality. They really don't understand the power of manifestation, the laws of attraction. They don't really get the art and the importance of visualization. They don't get that. They think you can just say something one time and that's it. It's going to happen. Make it all make sense. That's absolutely crazy, right? Of course it is. Of course it is. And not to mention, like I told you before, it's best to try to manifest things when you're in the theta brainwave state, right? Because that's when you're focused, you're calm, you're not anxious, your mind's not clouded and erasing, thinking about all these different things that could be, shouldn't be, and that you might have to do. You're not thinking about any of that. You're almost in a meditative state. You're just relaxing, calmly thinking, focusing your thoughts and energies and visualizing the things that you want. And when you continue to do that consistently on a regular basis, well, those things absolutely will manifest. Because it says in the Bible, whatsoever a man thinketh, that so he is. Okay? So with that all being said, like I said, it's okay to think about the future to a degree. But if your future if you focus your fears on things that are going to happen in the future, well, that can become overwhelming and even paralyzing. Okay, it might be a sign that your thoughts are skewed towards negativity rather than positivity. And so in those cases, people need to learn to focus more on the present moment. Okay, and then they can start to shift away from the cycle of negative thinking. And it's really not that hard. You just have to make it a habit of thinking positive, of looking for the gold at the end of the rainbow, looking for the silver lining to any dark cloud, looking at the glass as half full rather than half empty, and removing yourself from negative people with pessimistic mindsets. Now, the fourth one is the rumination trap. Okay, now did you know that the human mind tends to dwell more on negative experiences than positive ones? And this is known as the negative bias. You see, this bias makes us more susceptible to fall into a cycle of negative thinking, especially when it takes on the form of rumination. Okay? Because repeatedly, you're just going over a negative event or problem without any resolution. Let me tell you all something. I want y'all to pay attention. See, here's the thing about that. You see, that's why on the main channel, for those of you who missed it, for those of you who haven't noticed, that's why on the main channel, you don't see me talking about police brutality, social injustices all day, every day, twice on Sundays. You don't see me doing that anymore because I started to realize that this is absolutely draining. Okay, it's absolutely draining. It's putting me in a low vibrational mindset. And this is something that is continuously going on and on and on and on. And I'm going to tell you when I really started to realize that I got to stop talking about this stuff for my own health and well-being. Not that I don't want to talk to my people about our issues. Not that I don't want to bring awareness to the cases and issues that are at hand, but I don't want to do it every day, all day. And when I really started to realize this was when I had Mr. Raymond Fontroy on my show for Black History Month, if you all remember. The former driver of Dr. Martin Luther King and who has been a civil rights activist since the 50s. I looked at him and I saw how he's still out here trying to do the work. He has a grassroots organization, and this man is an elder and he's 80-something years old. And I thought about how back in the 50s, when he was like 16 or 17 years old, I had the pictures in the footage that I showed you as I did the interview of him out there marching. And I thought about, this man's been doing this since the 50s. And here he is, 80-something years old, and he's still doing it. What does that say to me? That said to me that this stuff isn't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. This stuff is still happening. So why, oh, why am I going to keep talking about it day in and day out? I'm sorry. Makes no sense. Because here's the thing. We don't have a solution. Well, actually, we do have solutions, but unfortunately, people who look like me are not going to take those solutions. I've given people solutions. I've given you all solutions numerous of times. But guess what? Everybody's stuck in their same old, same old. Some people just don't want to change their minds. They don't want to change their traditions. They don't want to stop doing what they've been doing. And if we can't do that, well, we're not going to move anywhere forward. So I don't have time to keep talking about it. I don't have time to keep talking about it because here's the thing. Remember how I told you all we need to all stop celebrating these nefarious pagan holidays because they're not our natural traditions or culture. They didn't come from our ancestors. These were things that we were indoctrinated to think and believe in. But really, these things only serve to generate money, generational wealth for the powers that shouldn't be. For the people who are in control. Do you realize that people who look like me spend trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars on nefarious holidays every year? We spend the most money of any other race or ethnic group. This is a fact. But yet we are the ones so lacking of resources. We're the ones that have the most financial problems. How does that make sense? Well, I would have to think that it's because many of our people are so caught up in materialistic things, vanity slaves. They remove the shackles and the chains from the necks and the hands and the ankles, but they put the chains and left them on the minds of our people. So now many of our people are so caught up, they have to have the latest sneakers. They have to be wearing Balenciaga. They have to be wearing, Christian Louis Vuitton. They have to be wearing all these expensive things. And sometimes they're walking around with these $1,500 purses and don't even have $1,500 in their bank accounts. Make it all make sense. So I did offer solutions because you see, people who oppress other people, they tend to not care about anything other than blood and revenue. And so the same people that they're oppressing continue to give them the revenue. How does that make sense? How do you come out from under oppression when you continue to do that? And so, I just have to keep it honest and say our people are not willing to do the work and are not willing to change. If you think back to the civil rights era, when they had the Montgomery bus boycott that lasted 381 days, over a year, how those companies that were being so racist against them, making them sit in the backs of buses, how many of them went out of business. You see, then that's when change started. That's when change started, but you never get change if you do the same thing over and over and over. That's actually the definition of insanity, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm not talking about this stuff every day because my people clearly are not ready to change. And so why am I wasting my breath and making myself drained of energy and leaving myself feeling low vibrational? I have better things to do. Okay. So with that all being said, yeah, that's how it goes. That's a part of the rumination trap. Okay. And so, let me see where I left off. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, that's part of it. You get caught in this cycle. It's like a hamster in a wheel, spinning and spinning and turning and turning, and you're not going anywhere. The rumination trap. Now, also, at these times, people may find themselves stuck in a loop, just replaying past mistakes or revisiting painful conversations over and over. Okay, this trap can lead to so many, or it doesn't lead to so many, any solutions at all, but it can lead to so many feelings of despair and hopelessness, but never any solutions. Instead, it feeds into your negativity and keeps you trapped in a cycle of pessimistic thoughts. Okay, the last thing you should want to do. Recognizing this tendency towards this can help you to break the cycle, however, and that's what I had to do. By consciously redirecting your thoughts towards more constructive paths, you can begin to escape this trap of negativity. And I want you all to pay attention because here's the thing. I'm going to tell you how you have proof that this works. So on the main channel, when I was always talking about these negative things that were going on with our people specifically, Jane says, very sad truth. They understand in the civil rights era, or they understood in the civil rights era. We have to understand the real dilemma now. Yes, but some don't want to understand or overstand or understand. Some are caught up in a perpetual cycle of cognitive dissonance. Okay, like when you show them the evidence right there, they can't dispute it. They just refuse to see it. They don't want to see it. They don't want to focus on it. Bell says, I stopped doing pagan holidays years ago and keep my bills paid. And people keep trying to use the peer pressure. Yes, they do. And here's how you know. Here's when you know someone doesn't want to change, beloved. Okay, so there are some people whom I was trying to tell them about this, and some of them were even people in my family. But I was trying to tell them, how we should not be spending all this money annually on these foolish things. There's almost a holiday every month. Okay, in January you have New Year's Eve, okay? And then in February, you have Valentine's Day. And then March is St. Patrick's Day. And then April comes Easter. Then you got Mother's Day. Then you got Father's Day. This is all made up, mind you. This stuff is all made up just to generate revenue for people who don't look like you, okay? The ones in charge, the elite, the powerful. All right? And then with that all being said, you got the 4th of July. Right? Goes on and on. You got Labor Day. You got Halloween, you got Thanksgiving, and you got Christmas. Okay, so there's literally almost a holiday every month. When do you catch a break? All right, if that's what you're engaging in. I'm just saying, make it all make sense. Make it all make sense. Now, the 5th thing is feeling stuck in life. It's just feeling like a stuck in life narrative, a narrative of failure and despair. Like someone working a job for years. It's a dead-end job. They've not been elevated to a higher level. They've not received any type of promotion. It's not even a question. It hasn't even been a topic of discussion. And so they just don't feel good about it. But sometimes the cycle of negative thinking can become so deeply ingrained that it shapes your entire life narrative. And people don't even notice this. They don't even realize it until someone tries to point it out. And even then, if you point it out to them, they don't want to hear it. And so, they might start seeing their lives as a series of failures, losses, and missed opportunities, just full of regret. Each setback reinforces this narrative, leaving them feeling stuck in a story of defeat. This perception can be so powerful that it blurs out any successes or achievements, making them seem insignificant or unearned. I mean, they start thinking about all of life's ups and downs, victories and defeats. But when your mind is trapped in a cycle of negativity, you see, here's the thing. Life is full of ups and downs. Life is full of victories and defeats. You win some, you lose some. Sometimes you feel good, sometimes you feel bad. That's the way the world works. But with these people that are trapped in this mindset, this cycle of negativity, the scale seems to be tipped heavily towards the downs and the defeats. And these are the people that I try to stay away from because, like I said, if they don't want to get out of that mindset, it's nothing you can tell them or do for them that's going to help them. They have to want it for themselves. And so if you start to notice in your life a pattern of, negative things, or start noticing that your life's narrative just seems like it's just one of despair and gloom and all of that, it's a sign that negativity has clearly taken over the driver's seat. Okay? Negativity has clearly taken over the driver's seat. And so remember, it's not about your failures. It's about how you react to the failures. You see, you have to lose sometimes in order to win. And at the end of the day, failure is not the only option. You have choices. It's about whether you're going to give up when you fail, or you're going to get up and dust yourself off and just try it again. You see, recognizing this skewed perception can help you to rewrite your life history. Remember the video that I did, and if you missed it, go back and watch. But the video that I did on this channel a couple of years ago about rewriting your contract with life. That's what you have to sometimes do. Sometimes you have to take self-inventory. Sometimes you have to sit back and reflect. Take a look at yourself. Take a look at the way you perceive things. Take a look at the things that come out of your mouth. Take a look at the types of people that you deal with as friends. Take a look at the type of people that you date in relationships. And ask yourself, in all of the situations and events that went bad, were you to blame? In all of the times you fell out with somebody, were you the common denominator? Is it you or is it everyone else? Sometimes we're the problem. And some people don't want to accept that, but hey, sometimes we're the problem. Just like, let's talk about that lady, Risa Tisa. She's gotten a lot of support lately, and I'm glad. Shout out to her. And she's been on Good Morning America. She was on Tamron Hall, and people have shown her an enormous amount of support. But at the end of the day, She was a worse enemy to herself than Lucian was. Okay? Legion. I'm sorry, that's his name, Legion. She was more disastrous to herself than he was ever. Okay, I don't care what anyone says. And some people don't want to hear that. I told you guys when I was on TikTok on that live, when I joined that panel, they were going in on us because we were speaking logically and realistically. You see, at the end of the day, it's not that we were discounting the things that she went through, but we were saying that she allowed these things to happen. She said out of her mouth that she ignored all of the red flags. She said out of her mouth that when she knew he was lying, she said, well, at this point, I'm just going to let him lie. She said, I'm just going to let him lie. The only thing I'm going to let lie are sleeping dogs. Okay? I'm just going to let sleeping dogs lie because that's what I was taught. But at the end of the day, she allowed these things to happen. You see, we let people treat us certain ways. If you don't demand respect, then you're not going to get it. If someone walks all over you and treats you like a doormat or like an old used up tissue, when they're done with you, they just toss you in the trash to the side, well, that's on you. Because as soon as you start to notice the red flags, you should be preparing to make your exit stage left. Why would you sit there when someone's telling you pathological lies? As she was saying, at the end of the day, let me tell you something. She is obviously, or at the time at least, was a person who didn't have a high self-worth. She didn't have very good self-esteem. And how do I know that without knowing her personally? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Because people with high self-esteem and people who value themselves and have a high self-worth, they could never. Okay, that's what they couldn't do. They might put up with the person until they find out the person is lying, including nefarious. After that, they're going to exit stage left. They don't have time for that. Jane said her negativity got her in that situation. She had no hopes, so she tried to create a hope for her dream, escaping from reality. Yes, absolutely. And very well said, beloved. And that's why they say perception is reality. Because many people can see the same thing or the same situation, the same scenario, but they all can view it differently. It just depends on what type of person you are, what type of boundaries you set or don't set, and what you think and feel about yourself, and how willing you are to compromise yourself for others. Remember the video that I did last month, and if you didn't, go back and watch, but remember the video that I did where I talked about there are certain things that you don't compromise, that you don't sacrifice for anybody. One of them is your integrity and your dignity. Okay? Another one is your mental health. You see, I couldn't have put up with Legion for even a month. Now, I'm not going to say a day or 2 weeks or whatever, because in that time, he could really fool you. You may not see the red flags as of yet, because these type of people, these sociopaths, pathological liars, and the like, they usually hide these things in the beginning, and they don't show them or show their real selves to you because they send their representatives. But isn't that what most people do? When you meet people in the first place, when you're dating someone, they send their representative to meet you. And the representative is the best version ever of themselves. Now, if that's not the real them, that's not who they are 24/7, well, that representative is only going to be able to stick around for so long until then the real them shows up. And then you're like, whoa, wait a minute, who is this? Who the F did I marry? Like Risa Tisa said. You see? Like she said, who the F did I marry? Because she really didn't know who that man was when she married him. He was showing her a representative of himself. And then when the little pieces of who he really was started to surface, she was so desperate, for lack of a better word, to have a relationship. She said it herself. She was desperate. She wanted a family. And so that she just let those things slide. I'm not letting anything slide. Okay? You get caught in telling pathological lies and act like a whole sociopath and just telling all these nefarious stories that clearly are not true. I'm out of there like a light. I'm out of there like a light. Okay? Please pay attention. And you should be too. So now, Recognizing the skewed perception can help you rewrite your life story, one where you acknowledge your strengths and celebrate your successes rather than focusing on your weaknesses. And the sixth thing is excessive planning and control. Now I'm glad I just thought about something. So the other night, I was watching an episode on the ID channel. You all know I love me some true crime. And also, speaking of true crime, I'm going to start my podcast back. Okay. I'm going to start my podcast back on Spotify, and I'm going to be doing true crime on there. So please pay attention. But with that aside, there was a story that I watched the other night about this young woman. Now she met this guy in college, and they ended up dating, and then they got married. He started seeing red flags right away. He chose to ignore them. So let me tell you what was the first red flag for me, or what would have been for me. He says that when they were in college, he bumped into her on campus. And then he started noticing that everywhere he went, she would be there. And he'd be like, oh, you again. And he really hadn't paid her any attention, which lets me feel like maybe he wasn't really attracted to her in the first place. Because people that we're actually attracted to, we notice them right away, do we not? So then he said he started seeing her all the time. And I said to myself, you didn't find that suspicious in my Dr. Umar voice? You didn't find that suspicious? If I'm seeing you everywhere I go on campus, you're always bumping into me like you're standing right outside my class when I walk out of different classes, I'm going to have a whole lot of questions, especially if you're not in any of those classes. And so nonetheless, he says that later, after they started dating, they were at a party one night, and then someone was asking the woman, where did you two meet? How did you guys meet? And she told the story right in front of him. She said, well, I used to follow him around campus. And so I memorized his classes and schedule. And so I would make sure that I was there when he got out of classes. He said he remembers thinking, what? And she said it like it was so normal. And I said, that would have been a red flag immediately. Okay. First of all, I think I would have noticed it in the first place, like I said. But then even if I hadn't, to hear her say that, you literally followed this man around class, around the campus, memorizing his schedule. Who does that? Not someone that's all there, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, long story short, him and this woman got married, and she became very possessive and controlling, wanting to know everything he was doing, always accusing him of things when he was doing nothing. And see, this is what people do. And the people who do this are people that are insecure with themselves. People who are sure of themselves, they don't have to worry about what you're doing when you're not around them if they're in a relationship with you. They don't have to worry about it at all. They don't give it a second thought. If you tell them I'm going to the gym to work out, they're going to say, okay, have a good workout. They're not going to be calling you on your phone the whole time you're gone. You still at the gym? Hey, who's that in the background? Who you talking to? Nobody has time for that, okay? At least nobody with sense. So that's the sixth point, excessive planning and control. She wanted control. And she also wanted to plan everything. Even when she got pregnant with her first child, he says that she seemed very upset and annoyed because the baby was born 10 weeks early and the poor child was premature, so it was very small and it was in ICU. He said she wouldn't even go visit the child. And he brought pictures of the baby that he would take daily and he would put them in her room. One day he comes in the hospital room and the pictures are gone. And she tells him that she had her mother to move them. And she was never going to the nursery to visit her own baby that was in ICU. And he said he realized later that the reason she did that or was acting that way is because her plan things didn't go the way she had planned for them to go. She had planned for them to have this perfect little baby, this perfect little life, and the baby came out being born sick and premature, and she had to have an extended stay in the hospital, and so she was unhappy and annoyed. And I'm like, sir, that wasn't a red flag? That didn't give you a clue? It got worse and worse till eventually, the end of the day, she ended up taking the lives of those beautiful children. They ended up having a daughter, and she took both of the children's lives because he decided to leave her. Prior to him leaving her, she would always threaten him that if you leave, you're never going to see your kids again. So he claims that's the reason he stayed. That's not a reason to stay with somebody who's making you miserable, who's trying to control and dictate the narrative of your life. Nobody owns anybody. Slavery ended, right? Unfortunately, except for people that get trafficked. But you get what I'm saying. So with that all been said, he could have just taken her to court and fought for custody. But he says that she blackmailed him because she knew that he tried to take his own life in high school and he was on some type of medicine for mental health. And so she told him that she would use that against him in court to make sure he didn't get custody of those kids. Well, I feel like he should have tried it anyway. But anyway, at the end of the day, she ended up taking the lives of those poor kids just to hurt him. It was all so sad. And she, beautiful children, beautiful little children, she took their lives in the most heinous of ways as far as I'm concerned. But I'm just telling you, this is what can happen when someone is so insecure with themselves that they are excessive in their planning and controlling and manipulative ways. Manipulation always comes along with people who are in fact controlling. They try to manipulate situations. They try to manipulate others, and specifically people that they're in relationships with. And they always want to play the victim when they do so. Everything's always about them and you're always to blame. So you should always look for these signs. I'm sorry, but people who ignore red flags are setting themselves up for disaster. On the surface, being organized and having a plan for everything might seem like positive traits. But however, an excessive need for control and planning can actually be a sign of negative thinking. Now, this need often stems from a fear of uncertainty and a desire to avoid negative outcomes. While it's beneficial to have plans and goals, clinging too tightly to them can lead to stress and disappointment. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes things just happen out of nowhere. We can't control everything, and things don't always go according to plan. And these people that have these negative mindsets, they often find themselves stressed out when things don't go the way they expected. Now, if you find yourself feeling anxious or upset when things don't go exactly as planned, it might be a sign that you're caught in a cycle of negativity. And people need to start learning to embrace uncertainty and let go of the need of constant control, because that can help them to break the cycle and invite more positivity into their lives. Sadly, some people will not realize this until it's far too late. The seventh thing and the final thing that I'm going to talk about is withdrawal from social connections. This is another thing that woman did in that story, as I'm thinking about it, because he said she tried to isolate him. For example, if his mother or his sister or someone in the family would call and invite them somewhere for dinner or whatever, a cookout, she would lie and say that he had to work. Now, of course, he didn't know she was doing this until later on, because he might not be there when the phone call comes in and she'd answer, or they might call her phone instead of his, and then she'd lie and say he had to work just to keep him. And when he'd want to go out with the guys, she'd say stuff like, well, I guess you can go if you don't want to be here with your family. Manipulation, possession, and controlling ways. So we're social beings by nature. You see, living and thriving, thriving on connections and interactions. Now, however, when people are caught in a cycle of negative thinking, they might find themselves withdrawing from these vital connections. And when they're doing it and you're in a relationship with a person like this, well, they don't want you doing it either. They just want you to be sitting at home miserable with them. They can start to isolate themselves and you as well. Declining invitations, just like that lady was doing. Okay, they don't want to take invitations to social events, or even distancing themselves from friends and family. And if, like I said, if they're doing that, that's taking themselves away from friends and family and just wanting to stay at home all the time, and they'll want the person they're with to do the same thing. So this withdrawal often seems like, it stems from feelings of inadequacy or fear of judgment. And it's sometimes driven by these negative voices that they tend to hear in their heads, which is their subconscious. You see, they've programmed their subconsciousness, whether willingly or unwittingly. They've programmed themselves to just be so pessimistic and to just feel inadequate, or like everyone's looking at them, or, feeling so unsure of themselves. Because when you talk to yourself and you say negative, critical things about yourself all the time, even if you don't say it out loud, but you think it, well, that's what happens. It becomes programmed into the subconscious mind. Remember, as I told you before, the subconscious mind controls 95% of the things that go on with us in our heads. Okay? So they have a fear of judgment sometimes. But isolation only fuels the cycle of negativity, making it even harder to break free. And if you're allowing someone like this to dictate the narrative of your life, well, then you're going to find yourself absolutely just as miserable as they themselves are. You see, happy people don't want to make the people that they supposedly care about miserable. They want you to be happy. Happy people don't go around hating on people. Happy people don't go around telling lies on people and to people all the time on a regular basis. I'm not saying they don't lie, because we all know that people lie. But what I'm saying is they don't make it a habit of always lying, and just trying to cancel events and tell people, oh, we're not going to be able to come because of this. They don't do those sorts of things. And they don't sit around just, worried about other people's business and hating on other folks, because they're happy. And happy people bring joy to others because they have joy within them. Now, if you notice yourself pulling away from social connections and preferring your own company most of the time, well, it could be a sign that you're trapped in negative thinking. Now, it's okay to be by yourself. I like to be by myself sometimes. I like to have some me time. I like to think and meditate and manifest and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you always want to be by yourself, that's never a good sign as far as I'm concerned. Because reaching out to loved ones and sharing your feelings can provide a much needed perspective as well as emotional support. And it's okay to lean on others because, we all need help sometimes. And the main thing is people need to try to break those cycles if they're dealing with it. The more you walk down the path, the deeper the trail becomes, making it easier to follow the next time. You just have to step out in faith in some cases. So, this is how our brains work. The more we engage in certain thought patterns, the stronger these neural pathways become. Okay? The stronger they become. Jonah says, it's like inviting someone to share your prison with you, and they try to make it nice materialistically to distract you from their increasing control. But jail is still jail. Oh, honey, that was beautifully said. Jane, that was beautifully said. I love it. And that's absolutely true. Okay? That is absolutely true. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to show a video clip, and then we're going to get into the trivia. Everyone, please like and share. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Jane says, being alone is quite addictive, and in this 2024, it's too comfortable to remain sucker-free. Not sucker-free. Jane, now that was funny. Okay, that was cute. Okay, but here we go.
Bitter and negative people, they never look for the good in anybody. They look for every fault or every mistake that they can find, and then they bring it right up to your face and criticize you, berate you, or whatever. Some say it's because they're unhappy. Well, I don't care if they're unhappy or not. Don't bring that stuff to me. I want to be a positive person, and I want to deal with positive people.
Amen to that. Okay, nobody has time for that. Who wants to be negative all day? Now, hold on. I'm going to play another clip.
Help you deal with the tip to help you deal with low frequency energies around you. If somebody is behaving badly towards you, know that they are only behaving based on where they are at mentally and emotionally in their inner world. So if they are holding on to lots of anger and hatred, that is what is going to be projected to you. Now, you're not condoning this bad behavior, but you're understanding where they're coming from so you don't take it so personally. You are more neutral and you allow those words to just fall. So remember, when somebody's behaving badly towards you, they only have the tools that they have, and know that don't take it personally, because that will help you manage those negative energies. Many blessings.
I absolutely love it. This is all true. So let me just talk about that for a second. So it's like when we were having that live on TikTok and the people were going in on us because we had contrary opinions and views as to them. And they were saying, oh, y'all are just hating on Risa Tisa. Y'all are just mad. And I'm like, mad about what? What are we mad about? That she got played for a fool? That she ignored red flags? That she allowed someone to walk over her? No one was hating on her. But that's the first thing people say when they don't have any facts or anything logical to debunk, or to rebuttal what you've said. They immediately start spewing insults. The bottom line is the people who felt that way likely had encountered people like Legion. They likely had experienced the same type of situations in their personal relationships that Risa Tisa had experienced. And so that resonated with them. The fact that the ones of us on the panel were saying that we would never allow someone to treat us that way, that we would have immediately been gone as soon as we saw the first red flag, and we said that she was partially to blame, they didn't want to hear that, because us saying that she was partially to blame for what happened to her made them feel like we're saying they were to blame for what happened to them. And they were. They were. At the end of the day, they absolutely were partially to blame. So with that all being said, I don't get mad when people say stuff like that, because like I told you guys, when we closed out the panel and I wished everyone a happy and blessed day, and I said peace and blessings, and I said, and that goes to those of you in the chat who are going in on us too. I said, can we just all get along? Because stuff like that's hilarious to me. Okay, like the trolls that come in chats and talk crazy. Remember when I was going in exposing certain people, and then this certain person, and then some of their minions would come and say little things, trying to go in on me. And I would always laugh and drop the link and say, you want to get on here and talk about it? That never bothered me, because at the end of the day, I don't care what they think. Okay? When are they going to get it? I don't care what they think, because the minute you start allowing what other people say and think about you to dictate how you feel about yourself, now they have control over you. And the most important thing for me is how I feel about myself. And I told you all that. It's called self-esteem for a reason. So, and I say that again and again and again, because there's still some people who just have a habit of worrying so much so about what other people say and think about them. Example, Cardi B. Always getting online trying to explain herself when people start saying things about her and her husband's relationship, whether they're saying he's cheating or whatever. Why do you care what people are saying about you and your husband's relationship? People are going to talk regardless. We cannot control what people say. We cannot stop people from hating. We cannot stop people from having their own opinions. We just can't do it. So why do you care? If someone's opinion is not directly affecting your life, then you should not be concerned. I always love to say that whatever someone thinks about me is none of my business. None of my business, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be who I am regardless. And what I'm not going to do ever is allow someone else to make me feel less than, no matter what they say. You can talk about my looks. You can talk about the way I talk. You can talk about who I am as a person. You can say whatever you want. But the fact of the matter is, I think so highly of myself. None of that stuff ever bothers me. None of it ever bothers me. Now, if you tell a lie on me, I will expose the lie with receipts. I'll do that. But as far as sitting there, trying to go back and forth, if someone says this, that, and the third, I don't care about those things. You can say whatever you want at the end of the day. And that's how we should all feel. Stop letting other people make you feel bad or make you doubt yourself. Okay? Because everyone is unique in the way that the Most High created us to be. And we are who we are. And at the end of the day, some people, even when people say things like, some people may say, oh, someone's ugly, like Charlemagne the Devil. Charlemagne the Devil was on the Breakfast Club, and he called Risa Tisa a big back. Now, that's a new terminology that people have started using recently, and some people use it about themselves. It's like, oh, I'm never going to get rid of my big back. Basically, someone who's a little overweight or whatever, or maybe a lot overweight. But nonetheless, he used that when referencing Risa Tisa. Now, that was a little mean-spirited, but if that's his opinion of her, oh, well, he's entitled to it, even though I don't think he needed to say it, because some things you can just keep to yourself. But at the end of the day, who is Charlemagne to talk about anyone's looks? I'm sorry, what? So at the end of the day, that's why I don't worry about what people say when it goes to things like that. Charlemagne's sitting there calling her big back, but look at his face. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay? I think I proved my point. So with that all been said, let's get into the trivia of it all. Okay? Eva Williams said, yep, Queen of Receipts. Thank you, beloved. Okay? Let's get into the trivia of it all. Jane says, people can try to control you, but we have control over our actions. And once we learn how to discern, there's no need to even participate or react at all. Exactly. Absolutely, beloved. Olivia says people are always going to talk. Just don't give them nothing to talk about. Exactly. And here's the thing. I'm so glad you said that. Excellent point. Because that's another thing that we were saying in that panel about Reese Latisa. We said, look, you all are getting mad because we have contrary opinions to you. You're acting as though your opinions are the only ones that matter. Everyone's opinion matters. So just because you don't like what someone thinks or what they're saying, why are you getting upset? I said at the end of the day, Reese Latisa came on TikTok and she did 50 videos, 10 minutes apiece. That's 500 hours of her talking and telling her story. When you do that, of course, people are going to say what they think about it. People are going to talk about it. That's why it's called social media. And I've seen people, it's so ridiculous to me. I've seen people in comments on some of these vloggers on Instagram specifically. I've seen people get in the comments and they didn't like what someone said about a certain thing that may have been exposed or talked about or whatever. And then they'll say, why don't y'all stay out of these people's business? Well, honey, these people brought their business to us. We didn't go to their house and knock on the door, ring the doorbell and say, hey, what's going on with y'all? Cardi B, is Offset still cheating? We didn't do that. These people literally get online and tell us their business. So I'm sorry, people are going to critique things because when you put your business out there, you give people something to talk about. If you don't want people saying anything, if you can't take harsh criticisms, if you can't take constructive criticism, if you flat out just don't want people saying anything about you, then keep your business to yourself, right? But I always find it interesting that people say, oh, why are y'all all in those people's business? Why are y'all so worried about them? No one was worried about them, beloved, until they brought their information to the internet. It's just what it is. That's just what it is. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get ready for the trivia. Now, like I told you guys, I'm going to find some random questions. All right. Some random questions. I'm pulling up my email because the answers to these questions will be sent to the root of all evil 227@gmail.com. Moderators, please put that in the chat. The root of all evil 227@gmail.com. Okay. So let me find the questions real quick. Okay. What topic am I going to ask you guys about? Let me think. Hold on. Right now, I'm filling out the email for the first winner, so I don't have to do it during the game. The little congratulations email I send. So all I'll have to do is just attach the email to it. That's if somebody wins, and hopefully somebody will, okay? And so yesterday we talked about movies. I think today it's going to be music. Okay, let's talk about songs. And you're going to have 30 seconds to get those answers in once I say the question. Okay, here we go. Let's see where I'm going with this. All right. Oh my goodness, some of these, hold on. Okay, I don't know who's going to know these answers. This is all nefarious. Okay, I'm just going to come up with some of my own questions because let me just tell you all one of the questions they have on here. And definitely I'm not going to ask it, but let me just give you all an idea. So one of the questions is, what pop star wrote songs for Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, and Alice Cooper? What? First of all, I wouldn't have had a clue because I would have never thought that someone who wrote for Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus, and Britney Spears actually ever wrote for Alice Cooper as well. Anyone have an idea who that is? And this person is actually someone who's singing I like. And the answer is Kesha. And I absolutely love Kesha's singing. Okay, but I didn't have any clue that she wrote songs for all of them. Okay, and so with that all being said, Claudette's a child. I'm glad I already got the ebook. Okay, so let's get into it. So I'm going to just ask a random question about a song. Whoever, and I'm going to ask you all some easy questions, relatively easy, so somebody can win. Okay, now let's get into it. I'm going to give you all at least 3 questions. And the new ebooks, by the way, are coming out in maybe a week. Okay, so here's the first question. I'm making this up off the top of my head, honey. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. Hold on. Let me pull up my little stopwatch on my phone. Okay, first question. Hold on. Do I even know the name of the song? Hold on. I got to make sure I have the title of this song right. Hold on. Now I don't even remember the name of it, honey. Pay attention. Okay, here's a good one. I'm not even gonna ask that question. I just thought of something. Okay, so listen. Kathy B said never heard of her. Okay. Here's the thing. Name the song. Name the song by R. Kelly and someone else that is the same name as a word that was used during no, hold on. I gotta figure out how to say this. Okay. Name the title of a song by R. Kelly and someone else. I'm not gonna say who because that'd be too obvious, but name a song by R. Kelly and someone else that is something a doctor would tell you if you had a specific type of condition. Clock starts now. Now this is easy. Okay, name the name of a song by R. Kelly and someone else that is something the doctor might tell you about a specific condition. Let's say the specific condition that you have is blank. All right, you all got 10 seconds left. All right, Eva just became a new member. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. Okay, time is up. Shout out to our new member, our new Starduster member. Okay. Now let's see what y'all got here. This is all nefarious. Let me see if anybody had the answer. Now, Hundia, I know you better have this. Nobody had the answer. Oh, this was so easy. It was the song by R. Kelly and Ron Isley called Contagious. Contagious. You might go to the doctor and have a specific ailment. The doctor might say to you, you're contagious. This is contagious. Hundia said you got me on that one. Okay, let me find the next question. Oh, I know who I'm going to next. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share this video, okay? Okay. Here's one. Name a song whose title might remind you of something that people release at a funeral. Clock has started. Name a song whose title may remind you of something that is released at a funeral. And this is easy. This is too easy. This X said that was tricky. Y'all got 15 minutes left. 15 minutes. I'm sorry, 15 seconds is what I meant. Now you have 5 seconds. All right, we have a winner. We have a winner. And the winner is Jane. Jane was the first one. And the correct answer is when doves cry. How did y'all not know that? The answer should have been flooding in. Okay, the answers literally should have been flooding in, beloveds. Hundia came in with the answer right after Jane. That's what it is, because they release doves at funerals sometimes. All right, and so let me send this ebook out. Congratulations, Jane. Congratulations. Okay, we have one winner. I got 2 more books. Going once, going twice. And the book you're receiving is Daily Prayers and Meditations for Your Royal Spirit. I hope you enjoy it, beloved. Okay, now we're on to the third question, and we're doing songs. We're doing songs. All right, your ebook is on the way. Let me see here. Who do I want to go to next? Okay, I got it. I got it. How am I going to ask this question, though? Ha! Okay, this is a good one. This is a good one. Okay, listen. Hold on, this might be a little tricky because there's a whole bunch of songs we can use for that. Okay, this is a song that Diddy could be singing by the time all of these lawsuits are done. By the time all of these lawsuits are over, this is a song by Whitney Houston that Diddy will likely be singing. 30 seconds. A song by Whitney Houston that Diddy could be singing after all of these lawsuits are over with. Y'all have 20 seconds left. Jay said, let's get the positive thinking up. You can win. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. Let me see what y'all got here. Oh, wow. Kathy B got it. And the song is I Have Nothing. Absolutely, beloved. That's it. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to you. Now, Kathy B, do you already have that ebook, the Daily Prayers and Meditations? Do you already have that? You have the book already? Okay, so I'm going to give you another one. Do you have the one about the third eye? You're welcome, beloved. Do you have the one about the third eye? Your royal third eye? Which one don't you have, Kathy? Do you have all of these books? No less. Which one do you not have? Do you have, let me see. Hold on. Let me go through the list. Kathy B wins often, as you can see. Okay. Okay, you have Royal Gems for your third eye. Do you have Royal Reminders to guide your spirit daily? Royal Reminders to guide your spirit daily. Do you have that one, beloved? You don't have that one? Okay, I'm going to send that one. Okay, Royal Reminders to guide your spirit daily. All right, now we have one more question left. Okay, Kathy, your book is on the way. Congratulations. Congratulations. Now here is, Honey said, I love trivia, especially when I get really excited, okay? Now we got to start back having a Family Feud round and a Jeopardy round, okay? Where I get two of you guys up here on the screen. That's what we're going to have this month. Sometime this month, we're going to have the Jeopardy edition and the Family Feud because those are really fun. When I have you all up here going at it, okay? So congratulations to the winners. Okay, now, Let's get to the last one. Make sure you all like and share this video. Like and share the video, okay? Who do I want to use this time? Oh, I just got it. This is a good one. I don't know if y'all are going to guess it, but here we go. So, this is a song. I got to give y'all something, a clue, but I don't want it to be too easy. Okay, this is a song not written by, sung by, hold on. Let me make sure they're, I think they're a rock group. They might be Southern rock. I just want to make sure. Okay, they're country rock. All right. This is one of my favorite country rock songs then. So listen to this. This is a song. I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all the group because y'all will never guess it otherwise. Okay, this is a song by a group called the Eagles who sings country rock. And the lyrics of the song remind me of something that Diddy would do to one of his SA victims. 30 seconds. The lyrics remind me of something Diddy would say to one of his SA victims. And I'm not trying to make fun of the victims. I'm just having a good time. But it's all plausible. Who just said a who queen? OMG, I'm Jamaican. The Eagles, beloved. 3 seconds. Time's running out. Now, I know somebody got this because I gave you all the name of the group. And we all know their most popular song. Wait a second. I just realized that somebody said for the answer for the last one, somebody said Tears of a Clown. Talking about Diddy. Y'all are low down. Okay, nobody got that one. The answer was the song by the Eagles whose lyrics remind me of something Diddy would say to one of his victims is Hotel California. Hotel California. In the lyrics, they say, you can check. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm getting these. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull up the lyrics. So I don't want to misquote. Here it is right here. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get to the part that I'm talking about. Here it is right here. Last thing I remember. Listen, now I just want you to pay attention to the irony of it all. Because this reminds me, Kathy B said she never heard of that. Honey, you never heard the song Hotel California by the Eagles? I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. But anyway, here are the lyrics. Listen. This is the part of the song that reminds me of something Diddy would say to one of his victims. Okay. Or one of his victims might say to him or to anybody. Last thing I remember was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the night man. That's Diddy. We are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Tell me that doesn't sound like Diddy talking to a victim. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. That sounds like Diddy to me. I'm sorry, let me read that again because that clearly sounds like the victim and Diddy. Last thing I remember was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. And then the man says, relax. Relax, says the night man. We're programmed to receive. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. All nefarious. Reviewed said, not Hotel California. Yes, beloved. Yes. Jay said, well, he would have taken them to a hotel, though. Okay. So anyway, I hope you all had fun because I did. I had fun, and I hope you all did too. Captain B said scary. Okay, and so with that all being said, listen, make sure you like and share this video, and be sure, because I'm going to be going live, not tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to, you know what? I might go live tomorrow because I'm going to be doing the masterclass for the higher frequency members at 6 p.m. So you know what? Now as I think about it, yeah, I will still go live tomorrow. Okay, I'll go live tomorrow at about this time. Okay, so if you don't receive a notification, make sure that you either check the YouTube community tab or my Twitter or any of my moderators that you follow. Okay, because they'll be sharing the links. All right, we the people said, great fun, Queen. Thank you, beloved. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. So listen, I love you all to life. I hope you all stay high vibrational. I hope you make the best of whatever you do today. And, you know, just enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. All right. So, and don't forget to say those positive affirmations on a daily. Okay. And don't forget to practice your manifestation when you are in the theta brain set, the brain wave. Okay. So with that all being said, Hundia says, I love it. Wish you could keep going. Great way to end the workday. Oh, don't worry, Hundia. I'm coming right back. I'm coming right back with a broadcast for the members only, beloved. Okay, for the members only. Juju said, love you to life, Queen. I love you right back. So with that all being said, all of the members, you're up next. Okay, it's almost 4:30. So I'm going to be going live at 5:15. You don't want to miss it. Okay, with that all being said, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives.